will have seen Renuka's review of the new Hyundai Creta where she drove the turbo petrol variant and she liked it quite a lot. But that was just one of 5 powertrain options you can buy this SUV with. Today I'm driving another engine and gearbox combination, and this one will likely become the most popular one of them all. Now let's get right down to driving. I'm driving the Creta diesel manual, and this new Creta is powered by a 1.5 litre diesel engine with 115 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque. Now I know what you're thinking, those numbers are less than what you used to get from the old BS4 1.6 litre engine in the old Creta. And you'd be right, but let's just have a look and see what this engine is like to drive. Maybe it's not all that bad. Let's get the numbers out of the way first. We didn't get a chance to do the full Autocar performance test, but in a few quick runs on an empty closed road, it managed 0 to 100 kph in 11.75 seconds. That's about a second slower than the old 1.6, but we suspect in the proper test conditions this new one could get a lot closer. Its in-gear acceleration times of 9.77 seconds from 20 to 80 kph in third and 11.44 seconds for 40 to 100 kph in fourth are respectable for a car of this sort. Similarly, while we didn't get to do a proper fuel efficiency test, the Creta diesel manual's ARAI rating of 21.4 kpl should translate to a good real-world result. Okay, numbers done. What does it actually feel like to drive? First impressions actually are very good. In typical Hyundai fashion, the clutch is light, the gear shift is light, and so getting off the line is a smooth affair. Also in typical Hyundai fashion, this engine is very refined. Okay, there is of course a little bit of diesel murmur, and if you extend it closer to about 4000 rpm, yep, does get a little bit boomy. But keep it under about 3500 rpm and it's not very rattly or clattery. It really is one of the quieter mainstream diesels around. Another thing that's really impressive about this new BS6 diesel engine is that it's very tractable. It pulls from very low down all the way till past 4000 rpm. Okay, it's not as strong as you might have hoped, certainly not as strong as the old 1.6 diesel engine, but it more than makes up for that by being very drivable. For instance, here I'm crossing a speed breaker in second gear, about 1000 rpm, and even with only half throttle, it's pulled very cleanly from not even 1500 rpm. And then at about 2000, it really picks up. It really gets moving past 2000 rpm. But again, it's not a sledgehammer punch, it's more of a gentle surge that just keeps going and going. The real advantage of this, of course, is that the Creta diesel will not only excel out on the highway, but even in the city. You could probably navigate through most city traffic situations without ever having to leave third or fourth gear. So that's the engine and gearbox, but has anything else about the driving experience changed? Now, compared to the turbo petrol version I've driven earlier, this diesel version appears to be set up a little bit firmer. Now that's often the case with diesel cars to account for the additional weight of the diesel engine, and the result is that the ride does move you about just a little bit more in the cabin than the one in the petrol. But that's not to say it's uncomfortable, it's just that you can feel a little bit more off the road. It's still a very well set up suspension, and it will keep you and your occupants very comfy in the car indeed. While it is light and easy to maneuver in the city, it's still no handler, thanks to a rather lifeless steering and quite a bit of body roll. If you want fun to drive, you're better off with a Seltos. The other difference compared to the turbocharged petrol version is that one exclusively has an all-black interior with a few red accents, and that color really highlights some of the poor, hard, scratchy plastics, especially on the top of the dashboard and on the door pads. Now, don't get me wrong, those plastics are still hard and scratchy, but they're less noticeable here thanks to the lighter shade of plastic. And in fact, the brushed silver accents like on the aircon vents really do wonders to lift the ambience of the cabin, way better than those sporty red accents do. It still doesn't feel quite as rich or plush as a Seltos in here, but it is a little bit of an improvement. Now, while this SXO variant retains the incredible equipment list that includes a panoramic sunroof, cool front seats, wireless charging, a powered driver's seat and a 10.25-inch touchscreen with connected car features, you do miss out on the driving modes with this manual gearbox. I do like the fact that the alloy wheels have this two-tone diamond cut effect that makes them look a bit more interesting than the ones in the turbo petrol version. And while we're out here, I guess I should talk about the exterior. Its overall proportions are good, but the details are just all over the place, and I for one don't like the look of it. Everything else we liked about the Creta is back though, like its spacious and comfortable back seat with pillows on the headrest, which is a nice touch, and its spacious and well-shaped 433-litre boot. A fun fact is that this diesel manual Creta is the only one available in every single trim level Hyundai offers, therefore targeting the widest range of customers, with prices starting from 9.99 lakh rupees for the base E-trim all the way up to 15.79 lakh rupees for this top spec SXO. It's aimed at those looking for practicality and the lowest running costs. But the good news is it also delivers a smooth and refined drive, as well as a generous equipment list and an impressive rear seat experience. It's not the most exciting to drive, and those looks are an acquired taste, and I personally haven't acquired it yet. But overall, this is a very versatile mid-size SUV. In fact, the only thing that would make it more versatile would be an automatic gearbox, and hopefully that's the variant we'll be driving next.
The M8 Coupe, BMW's flagship GT, has been launched in India and is priced as Rs 2.15 crore. While that's expensive, you do get a lot for your money. This car blends the comfort and practicality of a Grand Tourer and delivers near supercar-like performance. I got to drive the car in Portugal back in 2019. But please note, the car you see here puts out 625 horsepower and is the M8 competition. The one in India has a standard 600 horsepower and also is likely to have a more compliant suspension. It certainly looks the part. The M8 competition's sharp creases, chiseled nose and wide open intakes lend it a look that's aggressive but not over the top. The upturned and bottom heavy BMW signature kidney grille looks purposeful, as do the LED lights placed right next to it. In fact, the whole car seems to have a balance that's pleasing, with even a very nicely executed rear. Powered by a 4.4-litre twin-turbo V8 that makes 600 horsepower and has 750 Nm of torque, BMW claim a 0 to 100 km time of just 3.3 seconds, exceedingly quick for a GT. This considerable firepower is deployed to the road via an 8-speed gearbox, BMW's active M differential, and a fully configurable rear axle based X-Drive or 4-wheel drive system. Just as in the M5, its sister car, the X-Drive system can send all of that power to the rear wheels, if indeed you want to. That's not to say the M8 doesn't have its work cut out. This car weighs in at a heavy 1.9 tons. On the inside, material quality is exceedingly high, as good in places as on the 7 Series, and the quality of the plastics, leather and even metal bits are all first rate. The design of the dash is a bit too familiar, and BMW's typical sense of understatement, means it lacks that sense of occasion you expect in a car of this class. The M8, however, is quite practical on the inside. There are numerous cubby holes dotted all around the cabin, the rear seats are good enough for small children, and it even has a practical boot which offers 420 liters of boot space. Driving the more powerful competition version with 625 bhp was a real eye-opener. Driven in 2019 over some roads near Lisbon, Portugal, it proved to be a good balance of comfort and strong performance. But first the ride, which is quite stiff over bumps. But as we in India will get the slightly more compliant or softer standard version and not this competition version I'm driving, the ride is likely to be a bit more comfortable for the car in India. When it comes to performance, you can either choose 4-wheel drive sport, or 2-wheel drive, just as on the M5. And this gives you progressively more rear-driven handling and adjustability. To get a better impression of it at high speed, we moved to the Portimao circuit, or the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve. The circuit has a long start-finish straight, and there's no better place to demonstrate BMW's fastest and most devastatingly effective sports car than here. Also very impressive are the brakes. The bite, pedal feel, and most importantly, retardation are spectacular and give you plenty of confidence in a place like a circuit. The M8 is also exceedingly stable at speed and provides leech-like grip from its 4-wheel drive system and massive tires. It doesn't quite feel as agile or lit as something lighter, and you can feel its enormous weight, especially the weight of the engine on the front wheels and the weight of that heavy 4-wheel drive system. The latter, however, the 4-wheel drive system, is a gem and keeps you from spinning. It's so good, in fact, BMW actually allowed us to do a few hard laps with the ESP off. While I did manage some side slip, the transfer of power from the rear to the front takes place so soon, it just kills the slide. So you are always driving within a safety net. All in all, the M8 has the outright pace and performance of a sports car, loads and loads of grip, and the comfort and convenience of a big GT. The handling could have been a bit sharper and the interiors could have been more luxurious. But that apart, if you want a big GT with near supercar-like performance, well, this is it.
Greetings viewers, and now you might remember that not too long ago we did a list of the top 5 most fuel efficient petrol cars on sale in India, and back then a lot of you asked, well, what about the diesels? So here is that list right now, and instead of just top 5, we're doing top 10. It's worth noting that in the transition from BS4 to BS6, a lot of good diesel engines were discontinued, and a lot of those engines were in small cars which might have featured on this list if they were still around. And of the ones that are still around, well, their fuel efficiency numbers have sort of gone up and down a little bit, so the rankings might be a bit different to what they were before. It's also worth noting that these numbers are based on ARAI ratings, which are done in ideal conditions, so in the real world, your results might be quite different. And it's all about the cars that are on sale right now, so if new engines and variants are launched or discontinued, well, the rankings would change again. At number 10, the Ford EcoSport with 21.7 kpl. Ford is one of the few car makers that has opted to continue with small capacity diesel engines in the BS6 era, and its 100 horsepower, 215 Nm, 1.5 litre 4-cylinder unit is an excellent example of a small diesel done right. Not only does it deliver strong performance, it also delivers more than decent fuel economy in the relatively heavy EcoSport compact SUV, with an ARAI rating of 21.7 kpl. The EcoSport just makes the top 10 list, outperforming the Hyundai Creta by 0.3 kpl. At number 9, another compact SUV, it's the Tata Nexon with 22.4 kpl. With Tata's smallest diesel engine, the frugal 70 horsepower 1.05 litre 3-cylinder unit having been discontinued, the brand's 1.5 litre diesel mill is now its smallest offering. In the Tata Nexon, this engine makes 110 horsepower and 260 Nm of torque, delivering an ARAI rated mileage of 22.4 kpl when mated to the 6-speed manual. Interestingly, this is 0.9 kpl more than its BS4 counterpart. Expect the Nexon diesel AMT to have a similar rating. In 8th place, one more compact SUV, the Hyundai Verna with 23.3 kpl. In BS6 form, Hyundai's compact SUV has a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder diesel engine that has a fixed geometry turbocharger. This means its output is 15 horsepower and 10 Nm lower at 100 horsepower and 240 Nm than the variable geometry version in the Hyundai Creta. But it is also more frugal with an ARAI rated fuel economy of 23.3 kpl. Compared with the BS4 spec Verna diesel, the new 1.5 litre unit posts a 0.4 kpl lower figure than the now discontinued 90 horsepower 1.4 litre diesel engine. At number 7, the Ford Freestyle with 23.8 kpl. The same 100 horsepower 1.5 litre 4-cylinder engine and 5-speed manual combination from the EcoSport can go 23.8 km to a litre of diesel in the lighter Freestyle Cross hatch. The Freestyle is of course also available with a 96 horsepower 1.2 litre petrol engine, but it's this diesel unit that's the punchier of the two and better suited to the Freestyle's fun-to-drive nature. And if you were wondering where its other two compact Ford siblings are, well, at number 6, it's a tie between the Ford Figo and Aspire with 24.4 kpl. In the Figo hatchback and Aspire compact sedan, Ford's excellent 1.5 litre diesel goes even further on a litre of diesel. Despite the approximate 15 kg difference in curb weights, both models have an identical ARAI rating of 24.4 kpl, which could be due to the different gearing on the 5-speed manual. The Ford Figo diesel is an arch rival to the Hyundai Grand i10 Nios, while the Aspire diesel directly takes on the Hyundai Aura and the Honda Amaze. And speaking of the Amaze, here it is at number 5 with 24.7 kpl. Honda's compact sedan is powered by a 100 horsepower 1.5 litre diesel engine that is mated either to a 5-speed manual or a CVT automatic gearbox. The diesel manual version is rated at 24.7 kpl, giving the compact sedan a spot on the top 5. The Amaze Diesel CVT has an ARAI rating of 21 kpl and lower power and torque outputs. The Honda Amaze Diesel is the second most efficient compact sedan by a margin of 0.3 kpl. In 4th place, the Hyundai Verna with 25 kpl. Until the next gen Honda City goes on sale, the Hyundai Verna will be the only diesel mid-size sedan available. Recently updated with the new 115 horsepower 1.5 litre diesel engine shared with the Creta, the Verna sure has an appeal for buyers who do a lot of long distance driving. The Verna diesel manual delivers 25 kpl, while the smooth automatic is good for 21.3 kpl. And now at number 3, another Hyundai, this time the Grand i10 Nios with 25.1 kpl. Hyundai's 1.2 litre U2 CRDI unit is the smallest diesel engine currently available in India. In the Grand i10 Nios, this 3-cylinder unit makes 75 horsepower and comes with the option of a 5-speed manual or an AMT. Manual Nios has a fuel efficiency figure of 25.1 kpl, earning it a space on the podium. While the Nios diesel AMT's ARAI figure is as yet unknown, one can expect it to be close to the manuals. The Hyundai Grand i10 Nios diesel is the most frugal diesel hatchback in its class, though it misses out on the title of most fuel-efficient hatchback overall by just 0.01 kpl. In the penultimate spot, we have a Tata again. It's the Altroz with 25.11 kpl. Tata's all-new premium hatchback is the most fuel-efficient diesel hatchback currently available in India, with an ARAI rated economy of 25.11 kpl. Available in a single engine and gearbox version, the Altroz diesel uses a 90 horsepower version of Tata Motors' 1.5 litre Revotorque engine mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox. And in the top spot, can you guess which one it is? Yep, it's the Hyundai Aura with 25.4 kpl. Hyundai's 1.2-litre diesel engine, which we also saw in the Nios, also does duty in the Aura compact sedan, and it's at its most frugal here. Interestingly, the Hyundai Aura diesel AMT has an ARAI certified fuel economy of 25.40 kpl, stretching each litre of diesel the furthest, which makes it the most fuel-efficient diesel car in India right now. The diesel manual also impresses with its 25.35 kpl ARAI rated figure. So there you have it, the top 10 most fuel-efficient diesel cars on sale in India right now based on their ARAI ratings. But if you were in the market for a new car, would you pick any one of these? Is fuel efficiency really high on your priority list? And now that they've gotten so much more expensive with BS6, would you buy a diesel at all?
And now it's time for tips on sustainability and protecting the environment with Servo Futura G Plus from Indian Oil. Choose a smaller car if you don't need the size and space. Overloading the car with weight makes it work harder.